Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Hey everybody, it's great to be back. This is Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3 in the studio with my husband, John Morris. If you were not aware of this, John Morris is actually a personal trainer at Integrity Training Systems, and he has been training with us for the past 10 years. And actually, the way that I met John was one of the fitness centers that we were working out of at the time. For many years, my company was actually facilitated through other fitness centers, and I would hire and staff and train and manage all of the personal trainers at all these varying different fitness centers. And at one point, we just decided that, we really wanted to have a structure, a brick and mortar, to where our trainers could be in a place where they had like a unified, a design for a code of ethics, for a path that we follow, our morals, our ethics, our standards. And we did that, and we do still have our Clayton location, but in the process of having all of the different locations. One of the owners of our Lake St. Louis location came to me and said, I have a really good friend. He had a heart attack, and he's going through a divorce, and he's just really having some hard times. And he just recently had the heart attack, like within weeks, and just said, he just really needs some help, Debbie, and I really want you to help him. Would you do it for me as a favor? Absolutely, no problem. And I met John, and he's told his story before, and, the rest is history. He lost 100 pounds. He was a police officer. He was a cage fighter many years ago prior to being a police officer. And we worked together on nutrition, really worked together on some spiritual development, and just really tried to lead him back into his faith because I think he had really just lost his way when it came to faith, and he just at the time had felt so lost. And we guided him back and got him back in the Word and got him back into a strong relationship with the Lord. And then I started to try to help equip him in the gym in addition to the nutrition. And I had never, up to that point in my career, worked out with a client. I have always personal trained. I would not work out in the gym with a client. It just was like a thing. I just thought, no, I can't do that. I'm paid to train. I shouldn't be out there working out. But in John's case, he was going through a divorce. He just really didn't have the opportunity to be able to purchase training. But I knew he had a lot of structural imbalances. And if he didn't start changing the way he was working out, even though I was changing his nutrition, he was changing himself on the inside and making himself less acidic on the inside. But man, the outside was super duper acidic. I mean, he was just really bound up from years and years and years of this type of training. And so through the process of working with John and equipping him and really teaching him and coaching him, he decided, listen, Deb, this is what I want to do. I want to be a trainer. And I said, great. I hire part-time trainers all the time. I know you're a police officer. I'd be more than happy to hire you. And he said, I'll be honest, I think I want to do it full time, but I would be willing to trial it part-time at first and then go from there. But I want you to understand, I really think that this is what I want to do. I want to make a dramatic change. And that's a really big step when you have a job that is paying you, a pension, and you have a job that's paying you health insurance and vacation pay and sick pay. Just to say, well, I'm going to move to a job that, number one, I don't even have enough hours to go full time yet, and I don't even have any of those benefits. He felt something trigger him, and I would say the Holy Spirit was leading him and telling him and guiding him, hey, don't be afraid. I know it looks like you're going to have to give some things up. I'm going to cover you every step of the way. And I believe that John would say that he has, and I just want to introduce John that way because I think it's easy to look at him and he looks like this mammoth, great in shape Viking warrior that just walks around doing jiu-jitsu and lifting weights and is always the strongest guy in the gym. But he's really been through a lot to become what he is. And every day continues to battle, to be what he is. And he's such a dynamic trainer. And today we're going to talk a lot about movement patterns. And John is just an excellent, excellent trainer over the years. He's learned because of the injuries that he's had. I bring a lot of that up, though, because we typically start our first segment by talking about being a warrior and being a fighter and staying in the battle and staying committed and staying courageous. Right now at the gym, our board says have courageous obedience, meaning, just be courageously obedient to God and to his will and to his call and purpose for your life. And the definition of a warrior is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. And what we do at Integrity is we encourage people to stay in the fight, to stay in the ring, to not give up. That is what John has done. He has stayed in the fight. He has stayed in the ring. He has refused to give up. He has continued to fight. He has fought through depression, anxiety, a heart attack. All of those issues, went through a divorce all throughout the years, and then managed to find a way to court me and marry me. And he's here battling on, staying in the ring.
Yeah, I think what's important to note about what you said is I was working out when I started working with Debbie. It wasn't like I came from doing
years.
nothing.
Yeah.
I had been for years. In fact, I actually worked out more when I met Debbie on my own than I'm currently working out right now. I worked out almost every day, sometimes 90 minutes to 2 hours a day, 6-7 days a week, but I was doing it wrong. My tempo was wrong. My time under tension was wrong. My volume was wrong. My position was wrong. My form was wrong. So I was achieving results, but they were hindered and they weren't what they should have been. And I also ran the injury, and I actually had quite a few injuries. And that's one thing I want to talk about in the latter segments today when we start talking about, movements and functionality is, I don't know very many people who don't have an injury. I don't know very many people who haven't had something physically they have to overcome or something nagging that they have to press through. And one thing I hear a lot of when people talk about, wanting to get in shape or wanting to get healthy or wanting to get fit or wanting to get, a better look is I have to do X before I come do that. I have to get my shoulder feeling a little bit better before I do that. I have to get my back feeling a little bit better before I do that. I have to lose 10 pounds before I come lose weight. I mean, I know that sounds silly, but that's what people do, is they think that they have to do those things, but it's like it's all one unit. I have people that I work with all the time that have a nagging issue, or they've just had a shoulder rehabilitation after a surgery, or whatever the thing is that they're having to deal with, and we work around that. And what you have to learn is that being healthy and being well truly is a lifelong battle, and you have to know that you're not always going to feel your best, but that doesn't mean that you stop the fight.
Right, you have to stay in the ring, you have to stay encouraged, you hire a trainer so that they can keep you consistent, they can keep you from giving up. And it's why we have this mentality. It's why we continue to be on repeat with this topic. In fact, if you walk in our gym, we have a huge poster that says the word warrior on it. We have a shelf full of T-shirts that say the word warrior on it, because if you're in the spirit of thinking that you are strong, that you can endure, that you have to keep continuing to fight, battle on, whether you feel like it or not, whether you have a nagging pain or not, whether you're dealing with a few more pounds on you than what you'd like, whether you feel like you're more out of breath than what you should be, whether it makes you feel a little uncomfortable or not, whatever the circumstance is, you have to keep battling through it. The only way you will get to the other side and produce any change for yourself is by not giving up. And that is why we continue to sort of reinforce the importance of, not focusing on the struggle, but yet focusing on your strength through the struggle and your ability to continue to endure. That is what we do at Integrity Training Systems. Believe it or not, the reason why we have the Warrior poster, the Warrior t-shirts, is because those trainers are out there on the floor and they are encouraging. They're like, battle leaders. They're leading you into battle better.
Yeah, they're in the trench with you.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually standing beside you, living the same life, fighting the same fight, and helping you be stronger by strengthening the weaknesses that they've had to overcome.
Absolutely. For more information on time with a personal trainer, a free personal fitness assessment, or our 6-month nutrition program, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For more information on my personal bakery, Sophie's Bakery, for gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense baked goods, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for the very best grass-finished meat in town delivered to your doorstep, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
She is a warrior. Ain't nothing gonna slow her down. She is a warrior. She's taking this battleground. She is a fighter, a crier. She ain't gonna lose this round. She is a warrior, yeah. She sees a way and it ain't paid.
Hey everybody, it's great to be back. This is Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3 in the studio with my husband, John Morris. Okay, we are basically on part 2 of the longevity mindset. We did part 1 a couple weeks ago, and it was an excellent show. If you didn't hear it, please make sure you catch the podcast. It was regarding habits and routine, beliefs and mindset, and goals and standards. And so what we'd like to talk about today is movement patterns. And just what we're trying to do is present you with a longevity mindset. Like, what will it take to live long and live a quality life? And John and I are in the process of working together to create a longevity retreat that will be hosted in Rosemary Beach. We'll have more information on that to come. And there'll also be information on our website. And we are just really dedicated and committed in our business at Integrity Training Systems to teach people how to live long and live healthy and live well and live a quality life.
Well, we have the fountain of youth. Like, we actually have it. We've discovered it, and I say that kind of jokingly, but my pastor is actually my workout partner, and we work out together. And he said that one day. He goes, what we're doing is actually the fountain of youth, and everybody is searching for it. And they're looking for the quick fix and the shot and the pill and the this. And it's like, don't get me wrong, there's a place for all of that, especially if you have medical issues. There's things like that. But what he's saying is it's just putting in the work. Mm-hmm. It's doing the exercise. It's doing the cardio. It's watching how you eat. It's making it a lifestyle. The lifestyle is the fountain.
Right.
And then, of course, like I said, sometimes you need medical assistance with that for sure.
Sure.
But you have to go seek that out. You have to find that. You can't just think you're going to click on something and just be well for the rest of your life.
And I think sometimes you can go to the wrong fountain.
Yeah.
And not understand why you're not being
That's exactly
fueled,
right. There's plenty of fountains out there, but are they really the fountain of youth?
Are they
really
the
the fountain
right
of life? And
right.
Are they everlasting? Do they create longevity, or is it a short-term,
yes.
Quick acknowledgement of a change that's just going to come back and
not
potentially even come back worse?
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the whole thing, is that's what we're looking to teach you, and you said something about the movement patterns in the last segment, and it's kind of funny. I was thinking about this. I always tell people that it's persistence over perfection when you're talking about movement patterns. And I don't have my beard right now. I just recently cut it off, but I have 4 clients that have trained with me on an average of 2 to 4 times for the last 8 to 9 years. That's how long they've been with me. And it's funny because when they work out on their own, they all say that like out of the corner of their eye peripherally, they'll almost see my beard wagging and hear me say certain catchphrases. And it's so funny. Like, my one client, he's hysterical. He's like, I'll go to do something and I'll feel it try to twinge my shoulder. And it's like, I see your beard wagging off here to the side and you're saying shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, proud chest, and all these things that I'm on repeat on. Because it's persistence, it's consistency. That's the fountain. The fountain is understanding how to be consistent in what you're doing.
Right. And so when we talk about movement patterns, one thing I found being in fitness for almost 25 years is that it can get really like lopsided, especially in the past, I would say 10 years. And I hate naming names because I feel like I'm discrediting these places, and I'm truly not. I actually think there's a place for all of these places. But when you think of a place like F45 or Orange Theory or the boxing gym or CrossFit, for example, none of these places are places that were ever intended for a person to do 5 days a week or 6 days a week. But because the membership is $19.99 a month or $29.99 a month, it's something that a person is like, well, it's better than doing nothing. I am getting started, so I might as well go ahead and do this. And then they start doing that 5 or 6 days a week, and it is really hard on the body, and the person becomes very imbalanced. So they're not placing focus on all of the areas in order to keep the body balanced. So let me tell you what I feel like. John and I are on the same page with this, but what we feel like are, I guess you would say, the balanced movement patterns that everyone should be putting an emphasis on. And we're going to break these down more. First would be breath for your nervous system, stretching for the release of toxins, walking for the movement of fluids, strength for the protection of your body, mobility for the ability to reset your body and reset your brain. So first, let's hit on breath, because I think it's the first in that chain, okay? When it comes to breath work has such a unique ability to calm the nervous system. Now, is this wonderful for exercise? Absolutely, because if I go into an exercise and I'm totally seized up in my shoulders, I'm very likely to end up becoming trap dominant on a row versus really focusing on actually targeting my lat on a row or a lat pull down. But if I can sit there and take in 3 deep breaths, calm my nervous system down, I can actually contract where I should, and I can actually position my shoulder blades properly to receive the row or to receive the lat pull down properly in the correct muscle. Now, I also have the ability to use breath work to calm the nervous system down in such a way that I may be triggered by current circumstances. I might be triggered by stress. All of those are which are keeping me from being able to get in the gym. I can tell you several occasions where I've had clients that are truly so overcome by anxiety that I know if they were to get in the gym and they were to start that workout, it would help them. But because the anxiety is so high, they can't actually leave their house to get to the gym in order for it to help them. Starting the day with breath work puts your nervous system on a path to where you produce calm, you clear the mind, and you set yourself up for success. That is the first movement pattern that we want to talk about. Now, on our next segment, we're going to go into stretching, we're going to go into mobility, and really help you to understand the importance of flexibility. But understand that that breath work is the framework for a foundation for you.
Another thing with breathing is, the fuel of muscle tissue is blood and oxygen. So if you don't know how to properly bring the oxygen into your body, which is breathing, you're not going to get the proper fuel for your muscle tissue. So anything you're doing, running, strength training, even stretching, if you're holding your breath or your breathing patterns aren't good, you're going to cause yourself to potentially get lightheaded, pass out, or just not feel well.
And, circulation is energy. It's power in your body. In Chinese medicine, they call it qi, which is life force energy. And I mean, isn't that such a powerful word? Life force, that means that It's powering your body. So getting proper circulation, we plan to talk about that next segment, but with that breath work, you're starting the process of being able to truly open the body and get that circulation. We definitely coach you through that with our fitness assessment. Our fitness assessment is free. Give us a call at 636-299-2208 or take a look at us at integritytrainingsystems.com to schedule a free fitness assessment. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program, give us a call at the same number or take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com. Everybody, it's great to be back. This is Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3 with my husband, John Morris, going over longevity mindset, living a life of longevity. This is our part 2 podcast for this. And what we're trying to get across is what will it take to get the body feeling the very best. We've talked about breath in the last segment. I know John has one more thing to say before we move on to stretching and mobility.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a quote that actually comes from Rickson Gracie, who is one of the forefronts of jiu-jitsu. And he actually wrote a book called Breathe. And one of the quotes he says is, "Emotions are contagious." Helio, who is also a member of the Gracie family, used to say that you had to break the emotional wave before it broke on you. Everything I have earned today was at least partially a result of breathing. My best performance, my emotional control, my ability to endure. Breathing gave me all of this. And so I really like that, because what he's basically saying is, you hear people say all the time, like, just take a second and breathe. Just breathe your way through it. Or, like even when you're talking about pregnancy, there's a Lamaze class that literally helps you to breathe through one of the most painful things on our earth.
Yes.
And so it just goes to show you how important that breath work is. I mean, like I said, as far as fueling muscle tissue, when I was at my most muscular I've ever been, I was terrible at jiu-jitsu because I could only last for about 1 to 2 minutes before I depleted my cardiovascular system because of how much my muscle asked for in the way of oxygen.
And if you're wanting to start on breath work, start it first thing in the morning. Just
Right.
lay in bed before you get out of bed. Put your hands on your stomach, in through your nose, breathe in through your nose, and count to 6. Once you get to 6, at the very top of that breath, hold it for a 1 count. Exhale through your mouth and count to 6. Fully exhale up to 6, and then hold it for a 1 count at that exhale. Really try to feel that stomach push out so that you're breathing through that diaphragm on the way in, and then really try to feel that stomach come in on the way out. That's just a great way to start your day with deep breathing and to really challenge yourself to calm that nervous system. But that same breathing can be done midday to energize yourself right after lunch. It can be done right before you start your workout. It can be done during your prayer time, during your meditation, whenever you can get that breath work in. Now, the next step, and I will say that breath work is a really big part of flexibility. If you are not breathing correctly, you're not releasing correctly. But the next step I want to go to is mobility. I think that people often think, well, I've done 15 minutes of stretching, so, I take care of that section. But mobility is something completely different. Mobility, in my opinion, this is the way I've always explained it. I tend to like to brass tacks things when it comes to clients. I'm not trying to hit them with all these super complicated terms. I like to help them to understand that mobility is basically trying to retrain the brain where the muscles actually belong. Because what we've done year after year after year of being in this position, that position, is we've actually taught our fascia to go into a completely different place, and it's locked us into that place. I usually put a person all the way up against the wall, and I have them put their arms into a W position. And I say, what we're doing right now is actually a mobility exercise. When I take you from a W to a Y, what I'm trying to train your shoulders and your scapula to do is to contract in a completely different way than it ever has before. And so we're actually teaching your brain right now. Yes, we're moving the shoulders and we're opening the chest up and we're connecting with your back and we're doing all these great things too. But we're turning the brain on first to remind the brain, hey, guess what? Your shoulders were intended to be back here this entire time. And if we can start that workout with those mobility movements and our good breathing, then when we move into flexibility, we're going to be in a much different position.
Mobility, flexibility, and strength all have crossover. And I think that's where people get confused is it's like, okay, well, is this a strength movement? Is this a flexibility movement, or is this a mobility movement? And, you may say that there's a 20% crossover in each direction. It would be like the Olympic symbol, 3 circles crisscrossed around each other and kind of bleeding in. And the way I always talk about mobility and flexibility, just like Deb just said, is, the mobility is the reprogramming of the brain, but it's also teaching the muscle tissue how it's supposed to function, where it's supposed to function. Stretching or flexibility is going to be teaching the muscle tissue to lengthen. That's not the same thing. So the flexibility and the stretching, the lengthening of the muscle tissue may align it to where it's supposed to be or put it closer, but you can actually overstretch as well and put yourself in a position where the lengthening is beyond where it's supposed to be, especially from an acceptability perspective of your current structure. So I always start with mobility, and like Deb's saying, we do it in our free fitness assessment we offer, because if you're not properly mobilized, if your brain doesn't know how to get the muscle tissue in the right position, and you're not able to actually fire the muscle tissue where it's supposed to be, that is your greatest risk of injury. I can work someone out who's not flexible. I can work someone out who's not strong. I can teach someone who's not mobile to be mobile, but if you're not mobile, that's where you have to start. The lack of mobility is where injury most likely occurs.
And you don't have to spend an entire hour working on mobility. You can spend the first 10 minutes doing a couple mobility exercises, and then what it does is it shuttles like energy to the brain. And so then when we do put you in a lat pull down position, or we do put you in a shoulder press position, or we put you in a row position, because we did this mobility exercise to begin with, now you're actually set up and equipped to really, like, your brain is already like, oh no, I remember where my shoulders were up against the wall. That's actually where I belong. So when I sit up for this row, I'm actually capable of getting back into that position. Now, there are some flexibility moves that we're going to do that's going to actually lengthen things that are going to allow you to be able to stay in that position. I feel the flexibility then comes in, and that becomes your ability to actually remain in that position that the mobility is like teaching the brain to be in.
Correct.
So when I said flexibility, I said that flexibility, stands for sort of like your body's ability, like stretching is your body's ability to release toxins. When I met John, because he was so acidic on the outside, even though I had changed his food and he completely changed the pH of his body on the inside, it didn't matter. He was so bound up. He had like a lack of blood flow literally to his brain. I mean, his neck was so tight. His traps were so tight. He could get blood flow cut off so easily. And that can make a person anxious. It can make them short-tempered. It can make them dizzy. It can make them tired. It can cause migraines. Like, there's so many things that can come from that. And within weeks of him doing some flexibility movements and mobility movements, he started to see changes. But with flexibility, you can't just bend over and touch your toes for 15 seconds and expect that you're going to become flexible. You want to get into a position to stretch your hamstring, and you want to do that 6-count breath in, and you want to hold it, and you want to do that 6-count breath out while you're holding that stretch. And you really want to make sure that the body is releasing. And all of the sudden, the longer you hold the stretch, before you know it, you're going to feel the release of toxins. You will feel yourself open up. And it's just going to make it so much easier for you to drink the water, take the Epsom salt baths, and shuttle all of that lactic acid out of your body.
Well, it's why when you go see a massage therapist, especially if you're doing deep tissue, they make a recommendation of staying completely hydrated because you're going to flush. It's the same reason sometimes after those massages you can end up nauseous or feeling like you're going to be sick or pass out because you have all of these toxins that are currently bound up in the tissue or the fibers of your muscle that are being released into your system to be removed, hopefully from the body, assuming they have the shuttle being the hydration to get out of you. But that's the thing about mobility, flexibility, and muscularity is those three things, there's a lot more to that than just how well you physically function from a athletic perspective. And I think that's where people get confused is because we may have you do things for an internal reason, for those toxicities, for the way you have fascia and or scar tissue built up. It might not actually be for the functionality of the muscle tissue.
Absolutely. Now, I am Yin Yoga certified, and Yin is all mat work. It's all stretch holds. And we do a stretch hold class. John assists me with it every month over at Gracie Barra. We use their location because we can fit 25 people on a mat, and it's remarkable the way you see people leave. They are more calm. You can just tell. They're like, I came in and this was so bound up. I can't believe. No, it didn't feel good while I was doing it, but man, I can really tell a difference right now. Now, with Yin Yoga, they link the meridians in the body, okay, to organs, all right, so to different organ systems. So when I'm doing a stretch for my inner thigh, it's linking that to a specific organ system. So I could be improving the health or the release of my liver by stretching one area of the body. And what was interesting was I went for acupuncture every week for, I would say, a year and a half. And I started doing Yin Yoga probably 4 to 5 times a week. And the Chinese medicine doctor that I met with, he told me, you have had a significant change in your health. And he had not been telling me this for a while. He was giving me herbs and he was always concerned. He was always telling me I needed to slow down and different things like that. And he said, you have had a significant turn to the point that he said, I want you to go like every 3 days taking the herbs. We may even just have you stop taking the herbs. And I got to thinking, what the heck? How have I had such a turn? And then it dawned on me. I've been doing this flexibility for all of these months. And I sat down and told him, and he said, that's absolutely what is changing things. You are increasing your chi. Of course, this is his explanation. You're increasing your chi. That's what your body needs. We don't have it explained to us that way. It's like, oh, you don't want to tear your hamstring? Bend over, touch your toes real quick. That's not going to tear your hamstring. That's actually not true. You know, you actually sometimes could tear your hamstring if you bent over and touched your toes too fast.
More likely to do it, yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely really want to be equipped. You want to be taught. You want to learn a proper form of flexibility. I don't want that to hinder you from starting, but I just want you to understand that there's actually a right way of doing it and there's a wrong way of doing it. And I would highly recommend getting with someone and having them really point you in the right direction. I will say that is exactly what we do with our fitness assessment. Our fitness assessment is free with our personal trainers. We take you through mobility exercises. We take you through flexibility exercises. You learn how to foam roll. You learn how to stretch. We also assess you. We identify where your muscle imbalances are. We identify any postural deviations that you have. It is really particular. The reason we do this is because we need to know how to train you. You know, we need to know where your imbalances are. We don't want to find that out while you're on a leg press. We don't want to find that out because we made you do a movement that we shouldn't have had you do. So you need to have someone look and see what those imbalances are. And that is what we do. For more information on that free fitness assessment or our 6-month nutrition program at Integrity, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense baked goods delivered to your doorstep from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for the very best farm-fresh, grass-finished beef delivered to your door, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
In a world full of hate, being light. When you do somebody wrong, make it right.
everybody. It's great to be back. This is Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. I'm in the studio with my husband, John Morris. We are talking about longevity mindset, and this show is all about movement patterns for longevity. We have talked about breath for the nervous system. We have talked about stretching for the release of toxins, mobility to reset the body and reset the brain. And now we are going to move into walking to move fluids and strength to protect the body. I will touch on walking very briefly, and I will just say that is basically cardiovascular training to move fluids. Now, there are plenty of cardiovascular movements that do not move fluids. They actually make a person more stuck, okay, more congested. So don't think that just because you are doing cardio that you're actually releasing the lymphatic system. Walking has a phenomenal ability to help you to release your lymphatic system. Obviously, a vibration plate does that as well, but just simply getting outside and walking, getting on your treadmill and walking. We don't need a pump for the walk. We don't need the run. We don't need it to be on this big hill. Actually, just walking on a flat surface will cause the lymphatic system to drain better. It's fantastic for really helping the body to release toxins and just to make you feel more energized. It is a great way to start the day. If you have not been walking, I would suggest a minimum of 10 minutes of walking. Put it in the morning, put it in the middle of your day, and put it in the afternoon just to encourage better circulation and less lymphatic congestion. And the next thing that we want to talk about is strength. And I always say that strength it's intended to protect the body, right?
Yes.
We do strength training to protect the body. That's why it's suggested to do it from a longevity perspective, because we are protecting your bones,
Yes.
By doing that strength training. We even protect your blood sugar. It's actually great for lowering blood sugar if you do strength training. I have several diabetics that I have do strength training. For that very reason. But really, I try to have all clients do strength training. If you're losing weight, you want to start strength training in the beginning because you want your body to tighten and tone through the process. Otherwise, you're going to have a bunch of loose skin at the very end of it. But, really, let's talk about that protection of the body.
The protection comes from the fact that the muscle tissue is actually the strongest thing in your body. When you look at what we've got a musculoskeletal system, and that is made up of muscle tissue, connective tissue, which is tendons and ligaments, and the skeleton itself. And then beyond that, you start dealing with the organs and the things that we're trying to protect in our body. And the thing about the muscle tissue is that if it weakens, everything else weakens around it. And this is why you see in the elderly and the seniors, people fall. And it's so easy to displace or break a hip, or it's so easy to snap a wrist or dislocate or break a shoulder. And the reasoning for that is let's take the impact of something as simple as tripping on a curb and falling. When you go to hit the ground, whether you protect with your arms or not, we won't get into the specifics of how you should fall, but we could definitely talk about that. But let's just say whether you hit your hip or you hit your shoulder, if you lack muscularity and you lack the tissue to catch the fall, it's going to send a shock wave through your body, a lot like having no shocks on your car and driving down the road and how rough that's going to be. And when that roughness hits the skeletal system, which is not designed to take impact, that's where you see breaks begin to happen. And so if you can strengthen the muscle tissue when you fall, the muscle will not only expand and contract the way muscle is meant to work or potentially isometrically hold itself to catch the fall, but the tissue itself will absorb the impact. I have a client who's near 70 that has fallen twice in the last year. They have friends that have fallen in the last 2 years as well. And they told me out of the 3 friends that fell, all 3 of them have required some form of surgery for a break that occurred. This client of mine who has fallen twice, who is about to be 70, didn't have to have surgery. Not only did they not have to have surgery, they didn't actually end up with an injury. They ended up with some soreness and some bruising where they made impact. And the difference is that muscle tissue actually does what I just got done explaining. And so something that had been missing for a really long time, but you're actually starting to hear about it now, is strength training is the best thing you can do. It used to always be cardio. And people would advise do your cardio for your heart and lung health as you age, but stay away from strength training because you could get hurt. There's validity in that. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know all of the other things that we've talked about this radio show, the breath work, the mobility, the stretching, the flexibility, then you probably are going to get hurt. But when done properly, you actually look to extend the longevity of not only your structure and health, but your overall body. And the thing about the musculoskeletal system is if you've ever gone to a chiropractor because you've had something that's bothering you and you've been adjusted and it feels great, and then you step off of a curb or you walk away and click, it goes right back and it hurts. That's because muscle tissue is the strongest thing in the body, and it's going to pull that skeleton right back where it was. So if that's the case, then we have to know that our skeleton can't be supporting a fall or getting us through daily life and activity. You strengthen the muscle tissue, you lengthen the muscle tissue, and you cause it to sit where it's supposed to, then those types of adjustments will actually stick, and that's going to prevent you from having further injuries.
And it's never too late to start. I mean, honestly, the couple of people that we know that are either in their 70s or even late 70s or very late 60s, they've legitimately started in their mid 60s.
Yeah,
so I mean, that's that they look phenomenal. One is a
client,
bodybuilder.
yes.
One is on a stage bodybuilder.
I have another client. He was in the military, Vietnam. He's almost 80. He came to me. I think he's been with me for 2 years. And when he came to me, he couldn't lift his shoulders. One wouldn't go above parallel to the floor, and the other was at about a 45-degree angle, a negative angle out of his shoulder orientation towards the floor. And he couldn't raise them any higher than that. And now he can take 2-pound dumbbells and press them over his head at about a 10 to 15 inclined angle out of his shoulder socket. So that's huge. He can put stuff over his head again. You know, he owns a farm and he moves hay bales on his own. And the point is, he didn't come to me until he was in his mid-70s, and we were able to make that adjustment. And he's had double surgery or double shoulder repair, reattachment of connective tissue in both shoulders, twice in both shoulders, and it's still doable. So the thing is, you know, I just want to kind of add this as we're getting close to the end of the show here. I want you to think about when you're talking about strength training and you're talking about why we do the things that we do. You know, it's okay to enjoy a workout. It's okay to have fun. It's okay to think that you're excited to go to the gym because you are looking forward to the new workout or the WOD, the workout of the day. But just remember your why. The why should be to create the longevity. The why should be to be able to play with your grandchildren. The why should be to be able to pick your grandchildren up. The why should be, if you're going to fall, to know that you're protected. And that might not always have a brand new workout for you. You should learn to do something until your body can do it properly without you having to think about how to do it.
I personally want to be 85 years old, still doing my job, and people think that I'm 65 years old, just
Right.
deciding to go a little bit longer through retirement.
Right.
Like I don't want to be stuck in a nursing home, not able to move.
Right.
I want to feel great for the rest of my life, but I just want to go beyond aging here. If you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, if you are not doing strength training, get started. Start slow. Start with something. But don't continue to go without strength training. You need it. You know, muscle actually burns fat more efficiently
It is
for
the
you.
best fat burner in the
right,
world.
That's the best fat burner you can take is building muscle. So make it a priority. Come to us. Let us help you. We can build a program for you. We can make it to where you will not get hurt while doing your strength training. We will equip you with the breath work, with the stretching, with the flexibility, with the mobility, teaching you how to work that lymphatic system and making your body less swollen and less toxic. All of these things matter to us. They're like our core principles at Integrity. We would be very, very happy to take you through that free personal fitness assessment and help you. For more information on getting set up for that assessment, or for more information on our 6-month nutrition program, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. Also, for more information on our gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense bakery, my very personal bakery, delivered to your doorstep, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for the freshest farm-raised, fully grass-finished beef, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com. Thank you so much for listening. We really pray that this information is a blessing to you, that it plants a seed, and that you just make a decision. We would love to have you come to our gym, but you just make a decision to start making some changes, and we get that longevity mindset going. God bless you.